there, this is Elora, and I'm a prequel trilogy kid.
And this is Dave, and I'm an original trilogy kid. And you're listening to What Does Star Wars Mean to You? The show where we talk to all kinds of fans of the franchise, from industry insiders to indie artists, from obsessive mythologists to mega collectors, all for one goal, to take the hate out of the debate by focusing on one fan at a time to find out, what does Star Wars mean to you? Plus, it's just fun to chat Star Wars.
We love to chat Star Wars.
We do.
Welcome to our episode between episodes. This is where Dave and I deep dive on our favorite aspects of guest interviews, and we also discuss whatever we find interesting in the world of Star Wars this week.
That's right. That's right. Look, I know this is a curveball, but I thought maybe I'd throw this in because this is going up we're recording this pretty late in the game. This goes up on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But Hunt for Han Solo, or Hunt for Ben Solo.
I'm so glad you brought this up. I have big feelings around it.
Yeah, you do have big feelings around it.
Anyone who follows my Instagram probably saw my stories all week just being basically like Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
To me, it sounds like a big miss by Disney. It sounded a little bit like the concern was bringing someone back from the dead, which is ridiculous. And I don't know if I just read into that. Somehow he's returned. Somehow he's returned. Like, everybody in the Star Wars galaxy returns. From Ben Kenobi to Darth Maul to the Emperor.
And this is the only one that had the potential to actually even make sense.
Exactly.
Because there's the whole Force Dyad that really hasn't been explored.
Yep.
And then, they're like a single life force duality. It would make sense that spiritually he still exists. And then we've already established the Force Ghost kind of realm, right?
Yep.
And then there's also the world between worlds. So,
Why not? Look, Adam Driver is one of the best actors from the sequel trilogy. And they're all really good actors. I don't want to take anything away from anyone because they're all fantastic. But Adam Driver's Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, one of the most interesting characters, one of the best actors. Why are you going to throw that away? And any other move you've made so far, and I guarantee you if they did this, 50% of the fans would hate it, 50% would love it.
Mm-hmm.
But at least it's doing something. And I feel like right now with the sequel era, they're just sitting on their hands, afraid to do anything.
They're afraid to touch it. And what was really disheartening for me was the creative team kind of came out after Driver let this mic drop, right, on social media through that interview, and said that it was the first time in the Star Wars Disney history that a completed script was taken to the C-suite and rejected.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And the team at Disney Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, all of them loved it.
Yes.
Well, the stuff they've been putting out recently has been really good. So, for them to have been all over it and then been told no because, we don't get it.
Yeah.
Why are these suits making the decisions? I'm sorry. The only thing I can hope is that this was a strategic media play on behalf of that creative team, especially through Adam Driver, that they're trying to show that there is demand for it before the actors, I feel kind of age out of it a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think that's another great point.
Yeah. So Force Awakens came out, 2015? We're going into almost 11 years ago.
Yes.
The sequel trilogy kids are not children anymore.
Exactly.
Which makes me feel really old. But they want this. There's demand for it. And so I actually think this was strategic timing on behalf of that whole team that was behind this, as a last-ditch effort to try and create the stories that they know that fandom wanted. It's the same. It's like history repeated itself. I was a prequel kid. All of the original trilogy kids, not all of them, I won't paint with that white of a brush, but a lot of them had a lot of hate for the prequel trilogy. We've discussed that at length on this podcast. I loved them, and I had no idea people didn't like them until I got older and was more, integrated in the world and the internet became a thing. I think that they're starting to see the demand from the sequel trilogy kids. They didn't learn from that mistake with the prequel trilogy, that there was a fandom there. despite the online criticism from those that were more chronically online than your average 10-year-old at the time.
Yes.
And if you go look at Bob Iger's Instagram page right now, and you read all the comments on his like most recent posts, thousands of people are like, "Hi, where's Ben Solo? You really fumbled the ball, dude. Hey, over here, I'll buy 10 tickets." Like,
so funny.
I myself commented 2 words, Ben Solo.
Yeah. Okay, so last week we had Cris Macht, who is a documentarian, a musician, big baseball fan, big Christmas fan, but mostly a big Star Wars fan, to find out what does Star Wars mean to him. And let's play what he said.
I think what Star Wars means to me, too, is how I feel like my relationship with Star Wars is.
Yes.
Wondering about my dad's death, related it to the time machine and the Betamax, and then I'm like, okay, I can relate to Luke searching for answers about his father.
Mm-hmm.
Then when the prequels came out, I was in a very, very troubled marriage during episode 2 and 3. Anakin finds himself in the troubled marriage in the prequels.
Yes. Yeah.
And the sequels come out. It's about a girl. I have a girl that's already born. And so I feel like I'm still very, very much in tune with Star Wars that way on a personal level.
I just like how Chris kind of uses Star Wars as like a reflection on life.
Yes. It's almost not a decoder ring, but a little bit of a reflection in order to reflect.
Yeah. It was kind of, he phrased it in a way that I feel like we haven't heard on our show yet. Like a lot of people have talked about the spirituality of Star Wars. A lot of people have talked about like the ethics and like kind of like a moral code.
Yes.
Like a pathway for life, I think we've heard before. But like the reflecting on to like understand or to connect, like that was like a new thread that I was intrigued by. Yeah.
It was a connection of how do I see my life in this and how does that help me with my life? Because very much in the kind of like search of understanding of his father's death.
Yeah.
Of
his connection with his child.
His connection with his own daughter.
Yeah.
His connection with other fans and fandom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that community. What other moments stood out to you in our interview?
One of the big things for me that stood out was that Star Wars is such a big part of his life, but it didn't seem to be his personality.
No.
And I don't know if this is more of an original trilogy thing, original trilogy kid thing, or if it's generational. But I feel like if you walked up to him on the street, you wouldn't necessarily know he was a Star Wars fan. It wasn't like, he's not Star Wars forward. He doesn't present Star Wars forward. And I always find that super fascinating that people, because I feel like I'm that way a little bit too, is that people have these huge things in their lives, but they're not necessarily broadcasting it.
Yeah.
And also that he was also like, baseball is really important to me. Music is really important to me.
Yeah.
Christmas is really important to me. And I think those things, I just find it, I like when I see that kind of like diverse fandom all within one person.
More of a tapestry.
Yeah. More of a tapestry. Like Star Wars is a big part, a lot of threads in that tapestry. But it's not every thread. How about you?
I always like to see what can I take out of like the deeper, like, essence of the conversation. So I think the using it as like a reflection on like, past to future, I liked that a lot. But I also loved something we did where he built his own fantasy baseball team out of the Star Wars characters.
Yes.
And so I thought I would build mine.
Oh, wow. Who would you have on yours?
Well, like Chris, I agree that Melshi and Cassian definitely needed to be on the team. I think he also said Lando. And R2. So those 4 we agreed on. I added in Clone Wars era Anakin and Ahsoka.
Yep.
Finn, I just feel like he'd get really into it and like
he'd be like a coach.
I feel like he'd be like, we're gonna slaughter him. Like
Yes.
And then I threw in Rey because she's a fast runner.
Good
She's
point.
established that. And
Yes.
Chewie.
Of course. Of
Right?
course.
Like, I
Chewie,
feel like he'd knock it out of the park.
100%, both figuratively and literally.
Yes.
I feel like Chewie and R2 are like the most utilitarian players within the Star Wars character base.
Mhm.
Like anything you have, Chewie and R2 will go. If you're like,
Yeah.
I need to field a football team, Chewie and R2. I need to field a robot fighting team, Chewie and R2.
I also feel like Chewie would be like really good at like the smack talk intimidation, right? Like if you needed to like get in the heads of the other team, he would just be like, "Ah!" like yell at them, and it'd be great.
Yeah. Well, no one's ever afraid of upsetting a droid. So this week, when we talked to Cris, one of the things in his documentary from, I want to say, from 2012, that he had not seen Clone Wars yet in 2012. And so we asked him, and he still had not seen it. Mm-hmm. And we were like, well, let's watch it.
Yeah. We had
not
seen
with
it.
him.
No, not with Cris, although that would have been fun.
That would have been fun. Force him to watch it.
When was the last time you had watched it before recent?
Oh, got to be during the pandemic.
Okay, yeah.
I think. It came out in 2008. It was directed by Dave Filoni. Originally, it was going to be 3 episodes to introduce the Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon on, I think, Nickelodeon.
That makes sense.
And when George saw it on, George, like he's my best friend, when George Lucas saw it on a big screen, probably in a review process, he decided he wanted to push it out theatrically. And so it came out, I think, August 13th in 2008. And it makes for a good, 90 minutes of Star Wars cartoon fun.
Yeah, I mean, I will say having that piece of history, I think, provides a little bit more context for kind of how the movie is structured, though, because you can actually very clearly see 3 different episodic narratives in it.
Yes.
Even down to Padme not coming in until like the last 20 minutes. I'm like, that's an episode of something that like was just plopped in here. Like there's no even mention of her earlier, I feel like.
Yeah. It was just like we've got Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and Anakin introduced. Let's now bring in Padme.
Yeah. I had watched it. It must be about coming up on 2 years ago now, because when you invited me onto the show, I hadn't seen any of the Star Wars cartoon animation yet because I wasn't a big cartoon kid. So it wasn't something I had ever really gravitated towards. And so when I did my first watch of the Clone Wars, I started with the movie because I knew it was the prequel to it. And so my husband and I watched it, but I haven't turned it back on since. So it was nice to have the refresher for sure.
It's one of those, like, the details of the movie never stick with me. So every time I watch it, it's a little bit like I'm watching it for the first time. Like, the overall things I remember it's about Jabba the Hutt's, is it son, Rotta?
Yeah.
Which is, like, a little bit.
Which is never mentioned again, I feel like.
Yes. I guess he's
like
off doing his own thing.
What were your initial reactions to your rewatch? Like, what was the random stream of consciousness?
I think I want to say 2 things. One, when I first saw this in the theaters, I did not like it. In 2008, and I don't think it was a bad idea to release it in theaters. I just think it is very much a TV show quality, and the Clone Wars in general has as an animated series all the way up to Bad Batch has become so much better in quality. And it's back then it was pretty good quality for a TV show. When you look at other things in the theaters that year, like Bolt, Wall-E.
Oh my God! Oh, that's tough. That's tough competition.
Yeah, that's what you're competing with when you're talking about computer animation and everything. So I don't think I liked Ahsoka very much. It's not that I disliked her; it just confused me. Why Anakin was getting a Padawan?
Yeah.
But having said all that, I feel like on rewatching it, every time I rewatch it, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cute. This is fun.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a delightful little adventure.
Yeah. Like, I turn that on for my kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't made for, I don't know how old I was in 2008, like 26-year-old Dave. It was made for like 12-year-old Dave.
Yeah.
Who is no longer around.
Well, or did it wake him up?
I think yes. I think on rewatches, after seeing the bigger story, it's a fun introduction to Ahsoka. I think she's really compelling in it. I think she kind of steals the movie a little bit with her energy.
Yeah.
Because they're all having a lot of fun, but there's something about her that just brings a fun playfulness to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, what about you? I mean, it's been 2 years since you've seen it, so I'm really curious, like, from before you did this deep dive into Star Wars to now.
To now. Well, I had forgotten the entire plot, so I went to turn it on, and I was like, I actually don't remember what happens in this. The second they mentioned Jabba, I remembered the whole movie. That, like, that I just needed, like, that earworm, right?
Yes.
I felt like it's a solid movie, like, plot-wise. I still stand by what I said. It does feel like 3 different narrative structures kind of put into one. But that's also okay. There's also moments where it's so obviously more for a kid audience, the over-explanation of like, the expedition, right? Like, you know, I didn't write down the exact line, but there's a part, like, kind of within the first 15 minutes of the movie where Obi-Wan says something and then Anakin is like, that means we do this. And I was like, okay, so that was for the 8-year-old watching this, right? And so there was, like, a little bit of that, but, like, you know what you're going into.
Yeah.
Ahsoka gripped me a lot more on this rewatch. So this is going to be a really hot take for a lot of people who have both come on our show and I know listen to our show. But, like, Ahsoka's always been kind of a character that's, like, an enigma to me. Like, I've never really connected with her as much as some of the other female leads. I think it's because I didn't grow up watching the Clone Wars, and so I didn't have as much exposure to her. It's because I've only just, in the last 2 years been getting into more of the expanded universe, and she's not in a lot of the more stereotypically canon stuff. So I've been more and more intrigued by her recently, and so kind of seeing her origin again after all of this time has passed was fun because I was really like compelled. And her relationship with Anakin is so interesting and provides so much more context to, like, Anakin's downfall, I feel like, as well. The way she kind of pushes back at him and has to kind of challenge, it makes him challenge his own kind of like younglingness approach to stuff, like his attitude, right? It makes him be like, oh, is that what I sound like? And then he gets even more moody because he's like, I'm not moody like that. What do you mean? And there's this, like, push and pull between them that I think is really fun. So I think it's inspired me to actually rewatch the whole series and then rewatch Ahsoka. I feel like I'm gonna understand her character in a way I haven't before, and I'm excited about it because I do find her very cool. I've just never understood her the way that, like, because I grew up with, like, Padme and, like, Leia and, like, I felt like I really understood them. So that was what I think my biggest, like, just kind of random reaction was watching it was, you're right, she kind of steals the show, but in a good way?
Yes, in a totally good way. And it's also, I love what you said about her relationship with Anakin because it is so true. She is the Padawan that Anakin deserves.
Oh, yeah.
Like, pushes back, doesn't always quite listen, reminds him of the rules, but then reminds him of the rules that he's made. It's really it's a really funny relationship.
It is.
I thought one of the things that always bothered me about this, about the Clone Wars, was the Jabba of it all. I always feel like Jabba has a little too much clout within the greater Star Wars franchise universe. Like, I'm so, and we texted about this a little bit Because I even put in my notes, I don't even know why they want to curry favor with Jabba. And you're like, because they need the trade routes and he's blocking them or whatever. And and it's like, yeah, you're right. That totally makes sense. I just feel like this backwater mafia guy has way too much cachet within the greater Star. It's like
was that a Jedi failure that they allowed that to set that crime ring to establish?
Here are the two most important people in the Anakin Skywalker storyline: Anakin Skywalker and Jabba the Hutt, and that makes no sense to me.
No, it is. It's kind of out of left field. No, the only way it does make sense is because it is very realistic that there is some form of a mob-like systematic crime ring controlling various trade routes in the galaxy that everyone is trying to curry favor with to control the war.
Yes.
They are the Panama Canal. And
yes. Oh my God. Perfect analogy. You're absolutely right. They are the Panama Canal.
And everyone wants to control it.
Yeah, everyone wants to get through there. So, I mean, I guess along those lines, how do you think this Clone Wars story fits into like the greater universe of Star Wars as a property?
Well, it literally sets the stage for like for everything that we learn in Attack of the Clones.
Yes.
And then kind of like some of the aftermath of Revenge of the Sith, right?
Yeah.
I think Anakin, we already kind of, I think, touched on like the Anakin's transition from just like war hero to being more of a mentor. And I'm excited to rewatch the actual Clone Wars series, and probably with a little bit of a closer eye. Like, I'm not going to lie. My first watch was a little bit more like, it's not like I was sitting there with a notepad. You know what I mean? It was just kind of on.
Yes.
A little bit more of like a focused eye, because I think it provides a lot more context for his downfall in Revenge of the Sith. Introducing Ahsoka is a huge canon event.
Yes.
To the greater Star Wars universe. But the other thing I really liked is, and this is something I kind of pulled out for the first time, I feel like, on this watch, was like the humanization of the clones. And I know we've talked about that when we've talked about the Bad Batch, and we watched that episode and we did our whole reaction to that. But I mean, like, outside of them, like, just the whole clone army, like, it really reframes Order 66, at least for me, because, like, it's no longer just, like, faceless soldiers that are turning. Like, these are people who are being forced to betray almost by their programming.
Yes, that's true.
And these were their comrades in battle. And, like, that's actually incredibly, like, devastating and, like, complex and heavy for a children's audience.
It really is.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, the clones of it all, for sure. Because I find it really interesting that they opened with over Black, the sounds of war communication, and specifically the clones talking to each other via radio.
Yeah.
But then we go into a story that's about Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan, and the clones take a back seat in this story. You know, it's like
But they facilitate so much. Like, they're there.
They facilitate so much.
Yeah.
They're there. The show itself eventually evolves into a very personal story about all these clones. Like, you're right. They go from faceless to named to, and not just named, but individual personalities depending upon individual personalities. So, like, it's so,
despite being a clone.
Exactly. Yeah. It is a very heavy metaphor for war. And the other thing that surprised me within it is how kind of they didn't shy away from the darkness of Anakin if you were looking for it. Because there's that one scene where they're flying to Tatooine and Ahsoka's like, "Oh, you're from Tatooine. You're like going home." And he goes, "Yeah, home," and squints his eyes. And then they do this crossfade of the like exterior shot of Tatooine with Tusken Raiders marching along on their woolly mammoths. What are those things called? Bantas. Other bantas, and you hear that, like battle cry or whatever, and you just know and I think you hear a little bit of a lightsaber too, and it's a flashback to when Anakin like murdered a whole clan of them. So it's
understandably, that's probably one of his only murders I do understand.
Yes, yes, I think that's now that you bring that up, I think that's so intentional of like, let's give him a moment where he just strikes out in anger and the audience can understand why.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think is going to be fascinating is Rotta, I think you pronounce it Rotta.
I think it is Rotta, yeah.
The Hutt's, Jabba's son is going to be, I think, a major character, or at least a character inside of Mandalorian Grogu movie.
Oh!
And there's a shot of him. He's like this Hutt wrestler, and he has a 6-pack in the trailer, and that's Rotta. And
it's all going to be interconnected.
What was one of your favorite moments from Clone Wars?
I had 2. I love anytime Obi and Anakin are like have that kind of
banter,
rapport and banter.
Yes,
like they're always fun. Honestly, I think it's another reason I want to rewatch the Clone Wars series, because you don't get enough of it if you just know the films. Or even the books. Like I just wanted those two to have more time than we did in cartoon. And then the other one I wrote down, because it actually made me pause because I was laughing so hard, is the like film noir, like jazz music sequence when Padme like arrives at, is it Zero or Zero's?
Zero, yeah.
Zero the Hutt, like back alley, like shady, seedy club, like,
like
with the blinking lights.
Club.
It's giving strip club.
That's right. It was.
It was giving strip club, but like in the wrong part of town, and but like had this like this noir like nee like it was just like I had to pause because I was laughing so hard. I was like, what movie? I had a moment where I looked at my husband and I was like, did I sit on the remote? Are we watching something else? I was like, did I just like enter a new episode of the series? Like, what is happening here? It felt so out of place and it made me giggle. That was my favorite moment.
I think after this conversation, my favorite thing is the introduction of Ahsoka. I just think she was like this interesting character introduction within like a very established routine, like something that I never thought about it before, but her introduction really jumbles up the cart for Anakin and Obi-Wan in a very fun, story-giving way.
Yeah, I agree.
So
great button.
Great button. Yes. So that's what Star Wars means to us this week. Next week, we have I think one of our first sequel trilogy kids. It's Harvey Hamer.
Yes.
He's from London. He's the author of the Diamond Dimension Universe series. He contributes to Star Wars Insider and writes for sites like Vlogger Beat. And he works in comics, screenwriting. He has a newsletter. Big Star Wars fan, but also a big historical monolith fan. And I find the two combined together absolutely fascinating. I can't wait to share that interview with you guys.
Yeah, I enjoyed hearing his perspective, especially as a sequel trilogy kid. That was fun.
Yes.
Any other sequel trilogy kids listening that want to come on and talk sequel trilogy, their love for it, Ben Solo and how he was robbed of his movie, like, let us know, because I feel like your generation deserves to be heard. You haven't been heard enough.
I agree. 100% agree. And if you want to get in on the conversation, you can reach us at Star Wars Mean to You. That's at Star Wars Mean, the number 2 and the letter U. And that's across all socials. So until next week, may the Force be with you.
And with you. And your caw.
And my caw.